Okay, so it seems that we need to get ready for another hype cycle because Anthropic just released 2 new models, so get ready for a new round of crazy claims and nonsense. Today we're introducing Claude Fable 5 and Mythos 5, 2 configurations of our next major language model. I'd normally highlight the numbers, it's state of the art on nearly all benchmarks. I want to talk about something else because with Fable 5 out in the world, I think a third era quietly started today. So we start with this first claim that a new third era is quietly starting today, and it's no surprise that this tweet is coming from a person that works for Anthropic when Anthropic releases a new model. So maybe the era that he's talking about is a new era of an annoying amount of hype. I lead Claude Code and co-work on the desktop, so I think a lot about how people use AI to get work done. I believe we're about to see a major shift, moving from giving AI tasks to giving it responsibilities. What does this even mean? No one really knows. We were previously giving it tasks, now we're going to give it responsibilities. Are we going to scold AI if it gets something wrong? Are we going to tell it over and over again, hey, this is your responsibility, so please make no mistakes? I'm not even sure, to be honest. I talked about this in the previous video that I published yesterday, where these terms are just made up and they don't really mean anything. I'm not 100% sure if that's the intention, but to me it just seems like a marketing term that's supposed to sound like we're experiencing a major innovation. So now we're not giving AI tasks anymore. No, wait. Now we're giving it responsibilities. So let's say that you have the responsibility to wash your dishes. What's the task? To wash your dishes. What's the difference? I'm not really sure. And while that employee said that he doesn't want to talk about benchmarks, here are the benchmarks that Anthropic released. They are obviously very high, but as you probably already know, these companies can make models look very good when it comes to the benchmarks, while they're not really that great when it comes to daily tasks. They say that Fable 5 is state of the art on nearly all tested benchmarks, with exceptional performance in software engineering, knowledge work, scientific research, and vision. And that the longer and more complex the task, the larger Fable 5's lead over the other models is. And the 2 questions that come to mind immediately is, first, what does complex even mean? What is a more complex task compared to a less complex task? And is longer a good measurement for how well a task was done? I can spend 5 hours doing something, and that doesn't mean that it could have taken me 5 minutes instead, and the outcome would be the exact same thing. And actually, that's something that I've talked also about in previous videos, where I think that AI in a lot of cases just spends so much time doing a task where for me it would have taken me just 5 minutes. Obviously that's not always the case, but it tends to do this thing where the task is very simple, and instead of doing that simple approach, just gets lost in the details and spends 15, 30, 60 minutes, sometimes even hours, to accomplish the same task. And like I said at the start of the video, this comes at a time where already a lot of hype exists, and where new terms are being created almost daily, which to me seem like pseudo-engineering or pseudo-intellectualism. Yesterday I talked about loops being the new thing, where now instead of prompting your agents, you build loops that then prompt your agents, but Matt here says that actually everyone's banging on about loops when they should be thinking about queues. Your issue tracker is a queue of tasks, agents pick tasks off that queue and complete them. Then they go into a different queue, human review, the cycle begins anew. So this seems again like just a bunch of terms that mean nothing because we're trying to fix a problem with a bunch of solutions that are doing nothing. We're not actually fixing the problems that we have with AI, we are just adding more abstractions on top and calling that engineering, calling that actual programming. Somewhere around September of last year, it made a lot of sense to add new things to our toolset where we want to be able to check the output of an AI, we want to have the ability to do stuff like have hooks inside of our agentic AI coding tools, and I think those were actually very useful stuff, which previously were not available to us, and we started to see some innovation in fixing some of the mistakes that the AI was doing. But at this point, to me, this just seems like cultish behavior, where we're making up terms, we're saying that this is very useful, and we are not really proving that this helps in any kind of way, we're just creating complex workflows for the sake of it.